You're going to be under arrest.
For what?
For not listening to me.
I think the emergency is the video, somebody's videotaping.
And the shirt says, I believe, balls deep. He says his name is Captain Awesome.
Hey guys, Rogue Nation here with you today. And today in this video, I'm going to be talking about a news article. It's not going to be a video, it's going to be me talking about this news article because this news article really pissed me off. And I know it's going to piss a lot of you off, right? And there's a couple of things I want to talk about specifically having to do with this. One is the lawyer for this cop. He obviously does this for a living. He protects cops from lawsuits. Just a real scumbag. And you'll understand what I mean by that when I read what he has to say in this article. Another thing I want to point out is gypsy cops, right? We all know who and what gypsy cops are, right? And this story specifically deals with a gypsy cop and the liability that comes along with hiring gypsy cops, right? So let's get into the article real quick. It's Customs Border Protection Officer with use of force history sentenced for injuring woman at San Isidro Port. Man, I know I mispronounced that, so no need to heckle me. So this was an officer with the Customs and Border Patrol at the port there. And it says his name is Andre Chevalier. He was terminated from 2 previous law enforcement jobs before he was hired as a Customs and Border Patrol officer. It says he has resigned from CBP. Now this is a lackluster sentence by all means. It says a federal judge on Monday sentenced the former U.S. Customs and Border Protection officer to 4 months in prison for seriously injuring a woman by slamming her head first into a steel door frame in 2022 at the port. Prosecutors revealed in sentencing documents and in court Monday that Andre, a 41-year-old resident, was previously terminated from 2 previous law enforcement jobs, including a 2011 involuntary resignation from a San Bernardino County Indian Reservation shortly after he was involved in 2 use of force incidents. So, in the first 2 paragraphs, guys, we already have a major issue, right? And that is that this gentleman has been a gypsy cop moving from department to department with, use of force incidents behind him, right? Should be a red flag, right? If I'm hiring people for, whatever law enforcement job I'm in charge of, and I see a guy come up and he's been, let go or, resigned or whatever from 2 other law enforcement positions, that's going to pique my interest, right? No matter what it's for, right? Why are you jumping around from job to job, right? Why are you jumping around law enforcement jobs? Sometimes it's, better pay, better hours. There's all kinds of legit reasons why you would hop around jobs in the same field. But, I mean, he can't get away from the use of force incidents, right? These are documented. He sees these. I don't understand how this guy could have been hired. It says distrust of police officers is growing, the U.S. District Judge said in handing down the sentence. It's incidents like these that fuel mistrust. And he's absolutely right. But what also fuel mistrust is the 4-month sentence you gave him for seriously injuring a woman when a citizen would get 3 years for something like that. You know what I mean? That also fuels mistrust, District Judge. It says he pled guilty to a misdemeanor criminal count of using unreasonable force on the victim instead of something like a felony battery, right, that the citizens would get. I'm going to include a link to this article so you can read it all, but basically she went through the port coming back from Tijuana, visiting her mother. So it says here that the plea agreement states the CPT officer slung her into the inspection booth behind him, causing her face to hit the steel edge of an open entrance to the booth, splitting her lip and breaking her nose before she fell to the ground. In a secondary motion, after she hit the ground, he picked her up and shoved her against the side of her vehicle and handcuffed her, according to the plea agreement and a statement from the prosecutor. So this is undenied, right? This is exactly what he did. And what happened was there were 2 checkpoints, right? And she didn't realize they had set up this extra checkpoint, immigration papers or whatever. So when she gets to the first checkpoint, she doesn't want to show them anything. And they, wave her on, continue her to the main checkpoint. And the guys from the first checkpoint told, radioed ahead, said, hey, have this lady go over into the secondary waiting area. Well, when she gets to the first area, she's got her paperwork, she's ready to give it to them and, proceed about her day. And I guess they said something about a secondary exit, entry, whatever. And maybe she gave him some lip or something. But the officer pulled her out of the car, and that's when he slammed her into how they have those little guard checks they stand in front of right behind. Well, he grabbed her, slammed her into that. Once she hit the ground, he picked her up and slammed her against the car and then put her in handcuffs. The judge said he watched 3 different video angles of the incident multiple times. He said it was particularly egregious when he picked up the victim and slammed her against the side of her Jeep because she was not a threat at that point. Now listen, this is even sicker. The judge said he considered sentencing Chevalier, the officer, to home confinement, but reasoned that it wouldn't send the same message as 4 months in a prison or jail. Deterrence has to be a big factor. 4 months is not a deterrent from violating citizens' rights, especially when it's 1 out of 100 officers that even get a 4-month sentence, right, for doing this kind of activity. So, no, it's not a deterrence. Said part of the plea deal he agreed to resign from CBP. I mean, I don't know why you would have to agree to resign. They should just fire his ass. Excuse my language. And not seek future employment in federal law enforcement. Great. So what they're saying is this guy's going to be in a small town near you somewhere using use of force. You can guarantee it. The guy's 41 years old. He's not retiring. In sentencing documents, Chevalier's attorney pinned most of the blame for his client's conduct on the victim. Again, like I said, this lawyer's a disgusting scumbag. He says, as with Rodney King, if the victim in this case had simply complied with the initial orders of the officers to drive to the secondary inspection area, the offense behavior would not have occurred. Right? So, as long as you comply, then we don't have to unlawfully do something we're not supposed to do. Right? So, I mean, hell, when I go to the bank and I say, hey, give me $1 million, and they don't, that doesn't mean I could just, be like, well, I'm taking it now, right? Because you should have just complied, right, with my unlawful orders or directives or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, this is just, it's so insane to me. And there's a attorney's name, Richard Penneckard. I'd say Richard, that we all know what Richard stands for. You could change that last name to Pecker. But it happened on April 23rd, 2022. Not much left in here. It goes through the little story. Swiftly and powerfully yanked her out of the Jeep, driving her face into the corner of the open door to the booth. Apparently, she just couldn't be bothered by having to follow the instructions given to her. Mr. Chevalier, on the other hand, was simply trying to do his job. It says Askins, the assistant U.S. attorney, said no one disputes she should have acted differently, but he said that CBP officers often deal with people refusing to go to secondary inspection, and Chevalier should have known how to handle the situation properly. Absolutely. Again, this is the same thing of somebody standing in front of an officer and questioning him, right? This happens all the time. That doesn't mean that you can, body slam the guy who's questioning you. You know what I mean? Like, so out of hand. So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching and listening to me rant. This was just an insane story. I picked up, one of my subscribers sent it to me. Thank you. You know who you are. So, yeah, I just wanted to share this with you guys. I couldn't believe what that attorney said. Just disgusting. Just disgusting to me. Just like Rodney King. Are you out of your damn mind? Oh my God, this guy's insane. Alright guys, till the next one.